2024 has been a hell of a year. Our agency blew up. Our social media has blown up. Branding has blown up. We've had a lot of good stuff going on. I have agents reach out to me every day. I've accomplished a lot. I've helped a lot of people accomplish a lot. Hell, I wrote a book, put it out this year. There's been so many things that have happened, and this year has flown by. And my team is putting together kind of a little compilation video of the year, some things we've done, things we've shared, trainings we've done. And, you know, we're going to continue to help people get paid. That's my goal and mission in this business, is to help as many people possible get effing paid. Hence the upcoming event we have in February at my office, the Get Effing Paid workshop. If you haven't registered, please go to johnwetmore.com/events. You can register, get in, get you a VIP ticket, be around some people that are making insane money in the business, people I coach directly and work with. And again, take some stuff away from it, certainly implement some things. If it helps you see some vision, certainly do. I do like to share with people how much we got going on, because I believe in everything I say. When we start talking about all the do more stuff, I'm a big believer in it. And quite frankly, I did a lot of social over the last few years, and I didn't know what the hell I was doing, but it kept growing. And now finally I have some dope people on my team that we're actually getting better at it. So appreciate all of you that follow and send messages and feedback and DMs, and grateful for everybody that's taking part in the journey that we're going along. And I enjoy helping every one of you. So please share it, subscribe, register, all that stuff. Get your buddies on and let me know if I can help. Enjoy the video and keep killing it. Let's roll into 2025 together and make it all our best year yet. You know, I was talking to a guy. I'm old, right? So I I have a shoulder problem because I work out a lot, and then like my knees hurt and shit. And I'm going to physical therapy right now to like fix a shoulder problem I've ignored for 20 years. And the guy was talking to me about he talks to me about his goals. He's trying to grow his physical therapy practice, if you will. And so he learned a little bit about what I do, and he asked me a lot of questions, and he was talking about goals, and he's like, what do you think about like goals? I'm trying to get from this number to that number next year. I'll just tell you. He said, I'm trying to get from 300 grand. I want to make $1 million. And he got really hesitant about even saying the words that I want to make $1 million. He got his voice changed, his tonality changed. He got nervous saying it. And I'm like, cool. When do you want to make $1 million? And he's like, well, I mean, I think maybe 500 next year. And then, I don't know, 3 to 5, or maybe, I don't know. And he got like really nervous about putting out there. And he goes, I try to be really realistic about my goals. And I'm like, well, why the fuck do you do that? Like your goals are only going to be things you currently believe today you can hit. You know what I mean? Like, why would you not put something that's uncomfortable out there, that seems hard to get, something you can chase? Like, I don't know how to hike a fucking mountain 32 miles. I've never done it. Even in my training, the most I've done, I shared it a few weeks ago, I did like 14 or something. I just know I'm not going to stop till I'm done. You know what I mean? And I'll be able to come off and you win a cool little red hat that says you did it. There's nothing in it. And it cost me probably just to hike it was 6 G's. Then I had to fly me, my wife, and Maddox there, and I have to stay there for 5 days. So I'm probably spending 15 grand to go hike a fucking mountain. You know what I mean? But it's a challenge for me. It's something hard I want to do. You know what I mean? And I'm very blessed that I get to do that and spend the money. You know what I mean? Like, it's cool, because 10 years ago, I made like $800 in a month. You know what I mean? And some of y'all are afraid to put that stuff out there where you want to be. You know, and what I told this dude is like, why not have big goals? Why the hell not? And who define realistic for me? You know what I mean? I'm like, you decide what's realistic. The rest of the world, tell them to fuck off. If they don't think your goals are realistic, I'm sure a lot of y'all get shit for the things you're doing. Maybe you're not having success. Maybe people in your world are telling you this doesn't work, or you should quit, or you should get a real job, or that MLM thing you're doing, or all the stuff you hear. You know, I'm a big fan of telling people to fuck off nicely and politely. You know what I mean? But like, you know, I don't want to be on the news, and me and jail aren't meant for each other. So I'm not going to be too crazy, but like, I just don't give a shit what people think. And John Maxwell, if y'all haven't read his stuff, he's one of the best authors on leadership on the planet. He has this concept that he teaches on. It's the law of the lid. And Ed Milet, if you've ever heard him talk, he talks about it in relation to like a thermostat. Sometimes we have these visions, right? But we also internally think about what's realistic, and we start to get on the right track and start to go towards where things are going well and we're starting to see some success. But deep down internally, we don't believe we're worthy of it, and we don't believe we can really get there. And we self-sabotage ourselves and bring ourselves back down to what we consider reality. And I'm like, hold on, my phone is like blowing up. I'm hoping that's not someone telling me. All right, thank you. I mean, I'll read it in a second, a minute. We can tend to pull ourselves down to what we perceive as reality. Maxwell calls it the law of the lid, like you have a ceiling on yourself. And I'm like, why don't we blow the ceiling wide open and go get what we really want? Deanna, I have your note. I hope it's Deanna, not Deanna. I think you say Deanna, right? As I was walking down here, y'all know I don't like prepare for these. I just scribbled like 4 notes right before I get down here. I just think about things throughout the week, and this is what I do for a living, so it's relatively easy to do. But I would love, I kind of want you to unmute, actually, now that we're going to wing this thing. But I want to know a little, don't be nervous. I don't bite. But I kind of want to, she sent me a DM and she was like, I had a pity party. Correct me anything I say wrong. But you were like, what'd you say? I hope you do is it like kicking the ass?
Yeah.
What'd you say?
I said, I hope you do a locker room talk tomorrow, because I need to get my shit together before the end of the month, so I can hit this crazy goal or target I set.
Yeah. Why wait till before the end of the month to get your shit together? Why don't you wait till like the end of this call and get your shit together?
Yes, that works.
You know what I mean? Like, just cut it out. Right? And you were like, I had a pity party with myself.
Uh-huh.
Right? And I'm like, I start thinking about this stuff, and it's like, why do we do that? Like, why did you have a pity party? Why do you think? Or what was it about? I'm curious.
I guess if it was just me isolated, I wouldn't really have to have a pity party. But I think it's because in my mind, I was already starting to kind of make excuses. I mean, I'm going to be super honest, because I need some feedback. So I was kind of like, oh, I haven't been feeling well. I think I have strep throat, like all these things. And then I had people that didn't show up on the calls yesterday, lots of no-shows, had like 10 appointments on the books. Then in my mind, I hear you say, do more. Should have had more, should have double booked them. So I didn't have the no-shows. So just a little kind of like, wah, what am I going to do? It's the middle of the month. I should be at the halfway point, and I'm not. And so just kind of kicking myself.
Do you expect every day? Are you the one that Cody talked about that wanted to write $100,000 on IUL stuff today? I swear I heard him mention your name.
Yeah.
You weren't on that call either, were you? Today?
No.
Yeah, Cody, I was on a different call, and he
said it today. Yeah.
Yeah, it was on the affiliate thing.
Yes.
I thought I connected the right dots. It's like, my question to you is, do you expect to not have bad days ever again because you have a big goal?
Yeah, no. But maybe
you expect not to have any more?
Yeah.
Yeah. Why?
Because I need them to all be good days.
Do you think that's really fucking possible?
No.
So why do you put that burden on yourself? Quick break in the video. This is John Wetmore. Want to invite you to join my new school community. You will get access to tons of free sales training. There's a community of other insurance agents looking to win. We have hundreds of them already in there, where we're giving out answers to questions people have, coaching, guidance, tips on not only selling, but building, team stuff, leadership tips. And I'm personally in there responding to messages, putting out challenges, talking about our wins, our losses, our struggles, and sharing things that'll help you win as well. To join now, go to johnwetmore.com/school, which is SKOOL. The link is also below. Like, Maddox plays baseball. Can you imagine if he expected to never strike out? What would you tell him? He's 12.
You're definitely going to strike out. It's part of the process.
Okay. So if we know that for 12-year-olds, why do we not know that for ourselves?
Yeah.
In fact, Maddox's coach, he's playing for a new team now. He just switched teams. He had a higher quality team recruit him, which is cool. They reached out to us and asked us to try out for the team. And he went and tried out right after we left. We did this like Cooperstown tournament, little World Series type thing. comes and tries out and, does his thing, whatever. And at the end, the coach starts explaining the process to the kids. And he's like, we're going to make decisions in the next 3 to 4 weeks. We're putting a team together. We really want to do some good things. And our goal is to help you make the high school team. Right. And he goes, so we'll keep you guys posted. We'll let you know. All good. We let him go off. Maddox comes off. He gets his shit. We're packing the chairs and the little fucking wagon you carry with all the crap in it and about to go home. One of the coaches runs up to me and's like, hey, we want to make Maddox an offer now. We want him on the team. You know what I mean? Like, but he had just said it's going to take 3 or 4 weeks. And they like bolted to have him on the team. So he was like, wait, what? Did they just, and he was out of his mind excited. He was lost. And, like that was a win for him. But I'm like, dude, just because they gave you that doesn't mean you can show up on your high horse first day of practice like you're the fucking man. Like, you still have to outwork people. You still have to hustle. You better sprint to the outfield when they tell you out there. You better do, and I'm like, you have to do these things because every day is new. And my favorite thing about this coach last night, he says, they have the kids up and afterwards, and they talk to the parents. And he's like, hey, when we're out there, I just want to be really clear. We're going to coach these kids the way we want them to play the game. We don't want any feedback from the parents. So like when y'all are seeing a kid on the other team that can throw a nasty curveball, do not say to your kids, watch out for the curveball. We don't want that shit in their head. So you as the parents, your job is to cheer them on and give only positive words out of your mouth. Mm-hmm. There's no negativity to come out. We don't want to hear it at all. And he's going through all the list of things that he expects of the kids, which is like, you got to put your glove down a certain way. He doesn't want them to leave water bottles on the floor in the dugout. He's like, I want you to respect the equipment. I want you to respect the game. We're going to pay attention to be insanely good at the little things. Right. And so they're teaching the kids to lead off and steal. And in his age group now, they're playing in 13U, which is 13 under for those that don't follow. He's 12 now, but they'll be on a 13. So you can be 13 and under and play on this team. And they move the bases back. So now from home to first last year, I think was like 60 feet. And now they moved it to 80. So to get to first base and to get to second base, 80 feet between bases now, which means the kids that could steal bases last year, like easy as shit, they got 20 more feet to go this year. So they're having to teach them differently. So they're teaching them to lead way off first base. Right. And most of the kids lead enough to where they believe they can get back to first. So if you think first base, they take like 2 or 3 steps. They teach them to take 1 big step, second big step, turn, and then shuffle twice. Some of y'all that know baseball know this shit. Right. But all the kids hesitate and they kind of sneak back to first because they're afraid to get thrown out. So every one of the kids was within like 5 feet of the bag. Now keep in mind, Maddox is 5'7". And when he puts his arms up, he's like 7'2". He could fall over and hit the base. He doesn't even have to run back. He doesn't have to die. He could literally fall over and land on the bag. And they're like, dude, you've got to get closer to second base. Trust yourself. Stop doubting yourself. Move the fuck over, dude. If you don't move closer to second, you're going to get thrown out every time. He says, I'd rather you get picked off trying to get back to first because your lead was too big than get thrown out at second because your lead wasn't enough. Oh. They want them to take risks. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense? They want them to get out of their comfort zone. They're trying to stretch him because they have a fear of being thrown out. And some of y'all live that shit every day. You know what I mean? You're afraid to make moves. You're afraid to do things. You're afraid. It's like, why are we holding ourselves back? Right. And then we get done and he's talking to the parents, kind of reversing back to the initial start of the story. He's talking to the parents and he says, he tells us that they're going to make the kids swing the bat. Right. A lot of kids at this age, they try to walk. Like if the ball's not perfectly down the middle, they just don't swing at it because they're trying to like get 4 balls and get on base. And these coaches like want them to swing. And he goes, it's okay for the kids to swing and miss. I actually prefer it. If you're just going to sit and watch, I don't want you on the team. He's like, I'd rather you strike out swinging than fucking watching. And a lot of y'all are striking out watching. And that's what you do when you stay home and have a pity party. Mm-hmm. You're striking out. You know that. but you ain't striking out going at it.
Right.
You're literally striking out watching the ball go by you. It's like, what shot do you have to win doing that? You know what I mean? I had a again, this is another I'm old story. I'm getting older. I know there's some couple of people on here that are older than me, but like, you know, when you're fucking almost 50, you start to feel really old and you can't do some of the shit you used to do. And I try to be like I'm 20 and I'm not. I had to do a damn, what's that thing I had, Amanda? I had a freaking colonoscopy on Monday. Right. And I don't know what that is. I was told to do one and I'm like, I don't really know the depth of it. I just think they're going to go like check my butt and send me home. I have no idea. Well, it's a whole fucking procedure and they like put you to sleep and I'm a nervous Nelly. I have fucking anxiety with stuff like that. I have no interest in laying in a hospital bed. I don't know if I'm going to feel it. I don't know. Dude, I'm stressed the fuck out. Steph couldn't take me. She had surgery recently. So she's unable to drive. So Amanda took me and I get there. And they give you, it's really cool. Anybody ever had one? Dude, they put you to sleep, and maybe other people have had this. The guy goes like, all right, roll over. So I had to roll on my left. Am I supposed to approve this thing? Oh, yeah, hold on. Someone's asking to record shit. So he goes, roll over on your left side. I'm going to give you this whatever anesthesia shit, right? He puts a needle in the IV, and he goes, think about where you want to be. Because in about 3 seconds, you're going to be asleep. And he throws the thing in. And dude, I like slow blinked once. My whole body tingled and I was gone. Instant. I was out. I don't remember nothing. I blinked. That's the last thing I remember. And then I remember them like waking me up in the other room going, all right, get dressed. We called Amanda. She's waiting out front. She's going to pick you up. I'm like, y'all are fucking done? You know? And I'm like, did I talk to the doctor? Because they said they were going to do all that. He's like, yeah, dude, you just had a conversation with him. I'm like, I'm slurring my words still. I don't even know what the fuck's happening. Right. So I leave there. Then I come to the office with Amanda. We go to lunch. So I go eat lunch, which my wife told me I wouldn't be able to go eat. But I'm like, I'm going in to fucking eat. So I go in, I eat. Then Amanda takes me to the office. We get in the office maybe 3:00, Amanda, something like that. And I go carry like 3 boxes of, was it books? 3 boxes of something. I think it was like 3 heavy. I think it was our books. I can't remember. It's 3 boxes. Oh, it was waters.
No,
it was the waters. Yeah. So I carry, y'all know I drink these fucking waters because I'm crazy. I carry them everywhere. They're all over my office. So I had like, we were out at the office. So I brought some from my house and I carry 3 waters in and Amanda and Reese are like, you can't be carrying stuff. You just had a procedure. I'm like, I feel fucking good. And then some people are like, why are you at the office today? You had a colonoscopy. I'm like, okay, I got fucking shit to do. You know what I mean? And I came in and I worked till, I don't know what time I left, Amanda, and I worked all fucking night. I was calling fucking coaching leads. People, I've had like 150 people reach out to me this week to help them coaching stuff. I was personally fucking DMing and calling people till 9:30 at night, where most people would have just sat home because they had a colonoscopy and like boo-hooed about it. I'm like, dude, I just wasted 4 fucking hours at the doctor and I was told now I know I need to do it for my health. So I did it. But I'm like, in my head, I'm like, I'm behind now. I got more stuff to do. You know what I mean? And I didn't let that be an excuse, but the entire world would have been okay if I was like, I just had a colonoscopy. I can't go to work. Everyone would be like, we got it. You good? Stay home. We got you. No, all good. Need me to tuck you in? Do you need some ginger ale? Do you need, you know what I mean? I'm like, fuck y'all. I got shit to do. Leave me alone. But that's me. That doesn't have to be y'all. Does that make sense? But if you say you want stuff, which most people do, I'm like, when you get that opportunity, are you like chicken shit? You know what I mean? Are you taking a bigger lead or are you going for what you want? And for me, I'm just going for what I want every day. You know what I mean? And so it's not that I don't think negative. Trust me, Amanda, fucking how often am I pissed off and foul and want to kill someone and I want to like, it's daily. Fair? It's more days than it's not. Like y'all see her smile and Lynn, someone knows about the Lynn, huh? Y'all got the book. I know a lot of people are learning a lot about me with the book. I appreciate y'all that are buying it. I had to sign like fucking 80 of them in the last day and a half. So it's doing well. I'm getting great feedback. So those of you that bought it, I certainly appreciate it. Those that don't know, it's here. It's the story. It's the playbook of how to make a shit ton of money. And it's got like really big words in it. So like it's a fast read. Because I'm not that deep. My buddy texts me and he goes, I haven't read a book since Green Eggs and Ham. And I was like, cool, mine should be as quick to read. Just fucking read it. You know? So I think the feeling is normal, Dana. It's normal. But when you give into it, if you're not okay with it, which sounds like you're not or you wouldn't have asked, you're losing to yourself. You know what I mean? And I'm like, when I learned that most of the things I was whining about and holding myself back over and blaming external things for everything, you know what I mean? And reasoning why, like even in your initial, I don't remember exactly how you said it. I almost said something, but I wanted to let you go. Even in the initial, like, start of the story, you reasoned why you were there. It's like you're trying to give yourself validation that it's okay at the same time. But if that's not what you want, like our brain's crazy. It's smart. You can like fuck with yourself in good and bad ways. You can say, I want to be a zillionaire and do all these things and we'll do. And at the same time, that little voice in the back of your head can be like, nah, you just want to lay the fuck down and do nothing. But on the other side, it's like, nah, you said you do it. And you just got to like consciously and with complete and total effort, fight yourself a lot of days. And it doesn't go away. Just like striking out doesn't go away. I battle this bitch every day and I beat its fucking ass because I'm not going to lose to myself. But I sure as shit don't know how to make it stop. I don't know how to make the negative feelings go away. I don't know how to make the lack of belief in yourself. You know how many people give me shit for doing some of the stuff I do online and speaking to the industry and doing the things I do and the personal development, having a book and having merch and having like there's a lot of people who give me shit. And I very politely tell them to fuck off because I enjoy doing it and it helps people. And I just keep doing me. You know what I mean? But I have self-doubt on stuff. I wonder why the fuck I'm doing this and a bunch of y'all are watching. I'm like, why am I here? Why am I on this end? Some days I don't feel that I should be here either. But at the same time, I'm like, yeah, I have fucking done it. And I've taught a shit ton of people to print money in this business. You know what I mean? So I have to remind myself of that stuff too. So my point is your feeling is normal. What I think you have to figure out is how bad do you want it? And are you willing to tell yourself, like, you don't know all this stuff I do. A lot of this is for myself, just to be clear. But y'all seeing this one? Can y'all see that?
I got
No.
that.
You got
Don't
one?
be a bitch.
I got it.
I love it.
Hey, I do have to clarify one thing. Back in the day, I would have stayed
did I
there
beat
all
you up
day.
too much?
Huh?
Did I beat you up too much?
No, heck no.
Okay.
I'm just
Hold
saying
on.
I didn't.
Hold on. I'll let
I
you.
didn't-
Hold on one second.
Okay.
Look. So this is the nice version.
Uh-huh.
Hold on. Let me see if I can get it in the camera. Can y'all see that? Let me straighten it. Hold on. Let me straighten this bitch out.
Oh, I want one.
There we go. Did I get it in there?
Now just pull it up.
So that's like
You have
the
it in
church
black?
mode. So that Amanda challenged me before 8%. She was like, because I really wanted to share what DBAB really means. And she's like, I think you should come up with a different acronym. Like I don't know how you worded it. So I'm going to make up words, Amanda. But that's nicer. You know what I mean? So I made up a talk and it does mean other stuff to me. Like I do believe this stuff, but like, this is what I really mean. And that's for me. If it applies to you, cool. But those words are how I speak to myself. You know what I mean? But you're welcome to clarify something if you want to.
No, I was just saying, back in the day, I would have stayed there all day and maybe bled into another day.
Yeah. So it's
you know,
progress.
It was
progress.
it was
And,
a couple of
hey,
hours of like, what can I do different?
at the same time, give yourself grace too.
Yeah.
Now, if you do that shit every day, some of y'all do it every day and you give yourself grace every day. I don't understand that language. Does that make sense? I'm not your guy. Most of y'all wouldn't follow me. You wouldn't be here if you didn't believe in the things I say. But it happens sometimes. Like, give yourself grace. It's okay. You don't think I have a fucking pity party sometimes?
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? But I try to not let it linger. I try to not let it carry. Same as, again, I teach Maddox. He has a bad day. He's really bad with golf, like in the mental space. So when he has a bad day at golf, or if he plays a bad hole, it's a wrap for the rest of the day. He's going to have 18 bad fucking holes, and he's going to be mad for 2 days. In baseball, he's only mad for like 30 minutes after the game. It goes away because he has confidence in himself. So for me, I'm going to give myself the grace to be imperfect, but I'm just going to do my best to not drag it out. And most people drag this shit out. Dude, I talked to a guy this week, and if you're on here, I'd say I apologize, but I'm going to share the story part. And anyway, he's been having a pity party over like some very nominal debt for like, I think he said like 2.5 fucking years. He had an agent do some shitty stuff and he got hit with some debt and he's been dragging out 2.5 years. And I was like, dude, how much, if you weren't stuck in the mud over this, how much money would you have made versus what you have made? And the most he had made, I want to say it was like 200 grand or something like that. Like high hundreds is the most he had made ever in the industry. He's been in the industry for a long time, but he's at a point where it's down to like 60 or 80 or something like that. I'm roughly doing the numbers because I've had 500 phone calls this week, but he was off like 100 grand. So I'm like, you've cost yourself 200 grand being stuck on a $2,000 thing that pissed you off. He's like, no, it's probably double that because I'm actually like, wasn't even going at it that hard before. And I know I could go harder. I probably could have made $500,000. And I'm like, so a $2,000 thing is because you're having a pity party and mad and hesitate. And agents do that with leads all the time. You put $1,000 in leads and it doesn't give you a fucking 18,000% return in 6 minutes. You're like, lead vendor sucks. I'm like, I'm sorry. Maybe you suck. Maybe you had a bad day. Maybe it was off. Maybe you're off your game. Maybe you weren't intentional. Maybe your tone sucked. Maybe you were foul and they heard it in your voice. You know what I mean? Like there's other things. And for, again, the same thing with Maddox. When he tries to blame the umpire for a loss, I lose my shit on him. He's like, bad call though. I'm like, you allowed yourself to be in a position to where a bad call got you out. If you had hit a home run the pitch before, there would have been no bad pitch. The bad call wouldn't have existed. It wouldn't have happened. You know what I mean? And a lot of y'all are in some shitty financial situation and you're blaming whatever you're blaming. And I'm like, if you went out and did this shit the right way last year, you'd have fucking money today. Cut it out. Stop blaming all the shit you're blaming. It ain't working. You know what I mean? So it's like, all right, you've blamed everything else. How's it feel? Do you feel good? Do you feel all happy inside because you found someone else to blame? Okay. Cool. It's their fault. I agree with you. Now what? You going to keep blaming them or you going to do something about it and make change? You know what I mean? It's like shit happens in business. Every business has headaches. The therapist today was like, if I want to scale, I have to figure out how to hire employees and train more people. And then there's HR issues. I'm like, bro, that ain't unique to your company. Like we all have to deal with that shit, and whatever you're going through ain't unique. All right, you got shit. I got shit. We all got shit. You know what I mean? It's like, but there's people out there winning with plenty of it. And so I think, it's like you guys just got to believe in yourself a little bit more and understand it ain't necessarily going to happen tomorrow. It's a very day to day. This thing is slow. You're not going to wake up tomorrow and be like, I made it. It just sort of happens slowly over time. And you start to see things like accelerate, like the things we're doing on the personal branding side and everything. I feel something I felt before. I'm starting to see some traction. I saw like 5, 6, 7 years ago in the insurance agency side. I'm like, oh shit, something's cooking. I see it coming, but I've experienced it. So I know the feeling. As many people as we have kind of following and asking for help and reaching out and connecting, you know what I mean? Like I'm training other there's probably competitors on here because I don't consider it competitors to me. I'm like, I'm good. I'm doing a call on Friday with a team that's considered a competitor. I'm like, cool. And someone was like, worried about recruit. I'm like, you think I'm going to fucking recruit them? That's the last thing I have on my mind today. Dude, I'm trying to help people get fucking paid, but I'm training other companies today. Whereas in our space, that's not normal. Some of us don't even allowed to talk to each other because we're at different companies. You know what I mean? I post with a couple buddies of mine and the owner of their company calls them and gives them shit. Like, why are you hanging out with Wetmore? He's at that company. I'm like, really? I just don't believe in that stuff. There's bigger picture for me. And for some of y'all, it's like, but I've been doing this 12 years. Like actively every day, who I am, getting shit done, doing more. I've been doing that level since 2015. So 9 years at that level. The first few I was dicking around. So I think you have to understand it's a process. Like Maddox is playing baseball now at 12. The guys in the major leagues were once 12 also. Do you think they rolled out of bed one day and they were fucking top round draft picks? Like on the Tuesday of, 2018 was the day it all happened. I went from sucking to amazing. That was incremental change every day. Where you see it is when you look back. And what I always try to explain to people is like, anybody ever tried to lose weight before? Right? Everybody has. And you get on the scale 19 fucking times a day. The bitch ain't never going to move. Right? But we know with 100% certainty, if we stop eating like shit and we drink more water than soda and tea and coffee and alcohol, we drink more water than the other stuff, and we stop eating fried stuff and baked stuff, and you know what I mean? Like, not bakes, but like sweets and shit like that, sugary stuff, right? And we eat more grilled stuff and vegetables, and we work out versus sit on the couch. No one's confused. And in 12 months, you'll look different. But every fucking day doing it is hard. But we know with 100% certainty we'll get there. And we're not confused that when we get on the scale in 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 12 months, it's going to look different. And that's when you see the change, is when you look backwards. So if you take pictures every day and you're staring at yourself in the mirror every day, it never changes. But if you look at a picture from 12 months before, when you're going at it consistently, you're like, holy shit, I have a whole different body. But every day you don't see it. And this business is the same. Every business, it's the same way. Y'all are expecting to wake up one day and be like, I got it. That ain't how it's going to work. You just got to have faith that if you put in the right amount of activity and you continue to get better and you take this thing seriously and you put in the reps every day and you try to get better and you get in coaching and you're getting mentored and you're learning from your mistakes and you stop fucking blaming people for all your problems, in 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 12 months, you will be in a better spot. But if you keep doing what you're doing now, do you really expect to be in a different position? No different than if you keep eating the shit you're eating now and you keep working out to the level you're working out now, your body's not going to change. And this business especially is the same way, but I get to look back now and see the old version of me and go, holy shit, that happened fast. Think about something in your life, your kids, when you were in high school, when you graduated college, when you got married. Think back to something, some moment. Think about how quick it's gone by since then. You know what I mean? And all the things that have happened since. And then think about something old that you were pissed off about. The divorce you were mad about, the breakup you were mad about, the fight you had with your sister, your mom, your cousin, whatever. All that, and you were, and you visioned the way it was going to happen. And that's how it is today, and it's totally different than you thought. And sometimes you're fucking thankful for that thing that happened. Because life worked out better for you. You know what I mean? And as you guys are going through things, why do you not have that faith that it's going to continue that way? Because you're stepping on the scale every fucking hour. And you'll never feel and see change that way. You know what I mean? I'm going to get into some sales stuff real quick, and then I'll open up for Q&A in a little bit. Just some notes on sales. I might get deeper in some other stuff I do, but where I see people miss is a few ways. I have 3 notes on sales. One, it's a saying we have internally. It's like, I talk about being intentional, but when I do it in my office, apparently my staff pointed out, Reese actually figured it out. He does all our content. So if you like the content we put out online, thank Reese. He's in here probably watching somewhere. I don't obviously do any of it but talk, and he makes our social look like it looks. And the rest of my team makes everything else look like it looks. I just show up and talk. I have a really good crew around me, but I always say, like, let's be stupid intentional. And I don't know why I say it, but it's like a thing I say, and I say it all the time, apparently. But in sales, like in your approach with people, are you being stupid intentional with everything you do? Or are you just kind of winging it? When you sit down and present to a client, like, do you know your approach? Or are you just kind of like hoping it works out? The questions you ask, are they so intentional you basically know the answer you're going to get? Or are you asking questions where if you get a yes or a no, either way, you know how to work with it in your favor? Or if you get a nose, it throw you for a loop. You know what I mean? It's like, are you stupid intentional with your questions? Most people aren't. And I had someone talk about it the other day. They're like, well, I don't know what questions to ask. Well, that says you don't study your craft at all, because there's tens of thousands of successful agents at every company any one of you works for has some of them, and they share all the stuff. There's no company that doesn't share. So if you don't know what questions to ask, it's because you don't study your craft. I can give you some, but they're not going to be magic, and they're not going to be any better than anybody else is teaching. But the level of intentionality that I learned to have in sales is what helped me. Now, I still had a lower close ratio even when I sold $500,000, but what I always just like 40% close ratio. Sure, that's of the people I sat with or presented to, but I probably had a 90% close ratio of people I showed pricing to. Like if I showed you pricing, you were buying, because I didn't get to pricing. Like I knew there was a sale long before I got to pricing. And some of y'all don't know if you're making a sale or not until like you got your fingers and your toes crossed after you give pricing, and you hope like hell they say yes. And sometimes they say yes and you think you made a sale and you haven't figured out how to get a bank account or a social yet because you're too scared to ask for it. And then they say no after they said yes. Fair? Right? Is because you aren't intentional. I want to think about it. You're telling me you still don't see that coming 14 miles away? You can't feel that? They're giving you 900 clues along the way that they're going to tell you they want to think about it. But you're missing it. Why? Because you're not paying attention to detail. You're not intentional with your questions. Or when they give you answers that don't go perfect, you ignore them because you're uncomfortable at challenging people. Or you just go like, pretend I didn't hear that one. Let me ask the next question. It's like, hey, what would you do if, so-and-so died and you didn't have the coverage? Or if you, whatever, I don't know. Everybody sells different things that follow me at this point, but whatever, everybody asks, like, what would happen if, how would you handle this? What, health insurance, Medicaid, all the stuff. It's sales 101. And if you don't get like, most people get a surface level answer and then they move on to the next question, So I'm going to get into a little bit of it. Number one, in sales, especially if you're a lead driven salesperson, like if you're out straight up cold calling, slightly different approach. But especially a lead based sale, you should be extremely assumptive in all your questions. Meaning something as simple as most agents in the life side go like, so Bob, tell me why you filled out this form. It's a very, very, very poor question. Given the form says what it's for, it's really weird that you're asking why they filled it out. The form says what it is. Does that make sense? I don't care what you're selling. If they filled something out that said, yes, I have interest, and you ask why they filled it out, you sound very uneducated. And then the client be like, did you read the form? It says, if I want my house paid for in the event of my death, fill this out. That's kind of what I want. You know what I mean? Like the form says, if you need your final expenses taken care of at the end of fill this out. So a better question is like, obviously you filled this out because you want to take care of your family, Steve. Can you give me an idea what would happen to Susan over there if you guys didn't have this coverage in place? That's a better quality question. You're assuming they need the insurance. Now you just want to understand what happens without it. Does that make sense? So all of your questions should be very assumptive. Hey, when we pick a plan today, after you pick the plan, we're going to put it in place. We'll see if you get approved. In a week or two, they'll mail you the policy. That's an assumptive statement. We don't go like, if you decide to go with something, Steve. No, that's not assumptive at all. That's hoping like hell they figure that they need something. It's like most sales agents go into this wondering if there's a need. If they're with you having a conversation about your product, they clearly have an interest in it. And if you assume they need it, your questions by default will be different. But most of your approach is where we don't assume they need it. We're wondering if they even want it. So I'd say that's number one. Two, selling what your product does, not what it is. Meaning, no one gives a shit that it's $100,000 for $80 a month, or the deductible is this instead of that. No one cares. They want to know when they walk into the doctor that they're not going to get hit up for a $200 bill every time they go when they thought it was covered, or that they have, in the life insurance space, it's like they want to know that, if Bob dies, he wants to make sure that Mary isn't going to lose the house due to foreclosure and have to move into her mom's basement. Like, they want to know what it does for them. And many inexperienced broke agents, myself included, sell what it is. It's this much insurance, and it's an A-rated carrier, and they've been around 142 years, and their brochure is glossy, and look at it here. And it's, it's all these things you're selling that are really irrelevant, and not that those things aren't somewhat important, but they're so far behind the first level of importance, they almost don't matter. Like, I never gave out brochures to carry. I gave nothing out in a sale, and I sold a shit ton. I'm not saying you don't have, you can't or shouldn't. I'm just telling you, they don't care about that. They care about taking care of their family, and so in order to kind of sell what it does, how do we get there? You have to identify a problem. Like, your product should solve a problem. If you can't leave an appointment and explain to me in basic level English exactly what would happen to this client without your product, you did a really bad job asking questions. Like, you should be able to think of I always do it in reference of a movie, right? And the way I explain it is I don't love movies. And if I go to the movie theater, I 98% of the time fall asleep. I don't make it through a full movie. The only movie I made it through in my recent memory is took my son to watch the most recent Minions movie this summer. And y'all see Minions? I don't know if I'm the only weird one, but I've loved it. I laughed the entire movie. So I stayed awake for that one. But if the wife and I go to a movie, I fall asleep 100% of the time. I never make it. But then at the end of the movie, I always want to hound the shit out of her and ask what happened. What happened to this guy? And what about that? And this guy was hanging from a cliff. Did he die? Well, who killed him? Oh my God. And I want to know all this stuff. Well, she paid attention and she can explain it. Well, Steve went over here and he took the train over here and he was undercover, and she explains all the details. And what I want you to do is pretend I fell asleep during your presentation, and you have to explain to me what all happens to that family if they don't have your product. And if you can't do that, you didn't really use your product to solve anything. It's being really curious. And if you're not doing that, all you're really trying to do is make a sale. You're just trying to shove a product down someone's throat for a commission, which works to some extent. You will make sales. But to sell at a really high level, those that sell the big numbers y'all see out there, they're solving problems all day long. And in order to solve problems, you have to identify problems. In order to identify problems, you have to ask really good questions. And there's no script. There's no magic script. You can have some generality. Certainly, again, every company has ask these few questions, do a financial inventory, ask what happens if, paint me a picture, tell me a story. You can say those leading things to literally go I don't understand. Paint me a picture what it would look like. You can literally ask that in every appointment. And they will go oh, you want me to throw up details on you. And you just keep digging and you keep understanding. You don't have to be obnoxious about it. But again, if you don't understand what your product's doing, you're just going to struggle in sales forever. And this concept works on the building side as well. You start recruiting agents. If you know better what working with you solves for that agent. Now, I'm generalizing because there's, 80 something people on the call, and I'm hitting very common problems that everybody deals with just because I've done it a lot. But one-on-one with an agent, I'm asking them a lot of questions. Where are you at? Why are you getting into this? What does it look like for your family? And I want to understand where they're at in life and where they're trying to go and how working with me can help solve those problems. That's why some of y'all are on here. You think I can help solve your world problems in this business, right? And I can if you execute. So it's learning to have an understanding and really make sure that I had to learn. It's this really wild dynamic when you're in sales mode, or even any really conversations, trying to close a deal, or hire an agent or even do something like this. It's like being in the moment and running your appointment, say, but also being aware enough to watch your appointment simultaneously. You know, and I don't know if that makes sense to people. One day when that clicked to me, like I also had to be the fly on the wall in my own appointments. I had to pay attention to like the body language and if they were tracking. Like I watch y'all and see if your heads are nodding. If not, like you're falling asleep, I'm doing a poor job. But people are in agreement a lot. I'm like, oh, I'm tracking with people. Like I'm paying attention to details. You know, and I remember when I was really figuring this thing out from a sales standpoint, during the presentation, I had to pay attention to are these people even tracking with me? Are they just yesing me to death? Are they, you know what I mean? Like I'm showing pricing. Are they getting nervous? You'll see people's like veins start popping out. Their knees or their legs will start shaking. They'll start tapping their foot. Like people, like most of y'all will ignore that. I'd be like, Steve, bro, you're going to put a hole in your floor. Is the pricing that unaffordable, bro? Dude, clients crack up with stuff like that and they appreciate it. But most of y'all are afraid to say something like that. You know, if I'm talking to an agent, I'll be like, dude, you don't seem like you're tracking with me at all. Am I speaking incorrectly? Am I assuming wrong? Like, am I missing I'll slow down and stop and make sure we're on the same page, you know? And so I had to learn how to kind of watch the appointment and watch how it was going from a very objective point of view also. So I could tweak things and be honest with myself versus just leave an appointment and go, they were broke. They didn't have the budget. They just, shit, the leads, man. They just, you know what I mean? All these things we say when we leave. Whereas if you can leave and know where you lost them, like, man, dude, right before I showed pricing, I felt like they just weren't in and they just wanted, and I should have asked more questions. Damn, I missed it. Next appointment, you don't let that part go by without digging deeper, you know? You show a certain product and at the end the client doesn't fully understand it or absorb it or they misunderstand it. An example, like when I used to sell a lot of older folks that wanted mortgage protection, I would sell them a lot of like whole life, a final expense product, buying time concept, you know, mortgage payment protection, whatever y'all call it today. I would sell the snot out of that. And early on when I started doing it and started explaining like, hey, this will take care of, you know, 12 months of mortgage payments, in the event of your death. At the end, early, the clients would always go, so I only have to pay for this for 12 months? And at first I'd be like, God, they were an idiot. But then I started realizing, dude, I must be doing such a poor job explaining it that they're all misunderstanding how it works. So I had to slow down and really start to emphasize the way that the product works for them and how it solves their issue. You know, again, that's just one example, but I'm sure you can think of many instances where repetitively people misunderstand something or don't quite get how it works or they aren't tracking quite. It's like, what did you miss that's happening so frequently? So you got to be able to watch that in the moment and then tweak it going forward. So let me see. Double and triple check equity protection concept. Amen, Brian. I'm not surprised with you. You've worked with me. Let's see. It's quiet in here. You all done? I'll be leaving in 1 minute unless I hear someone talking. What the hell is that? That was weird. That's like an otter AI. Well, interesting. What the hell? I thought that was someone being an asshole. I was like, damn. Oh Lord. All right. I'm gonna open it for questions first. I got some other stuff, but anybody have anything? I'm gonna take a breath and Amanda or Reese, can one of y'all bring me a drink? I forgot a water, please. And thank you. Love you. I don't have any down here. But if anybody has anything, just unmute. Feel free to ask. And
so, John, I've been noticing on some of my presentations here lately.
Let me find you. Who's this?
Okay, Brian.
Oh shit! I hear you. Okay. Oh yeah, I see you.
Yeah.
I see you. Yep.
Okay.
What up, dude?
On presentations here in the last few days, you know, I get them to the point, and this is usually telesales, mortgage protection, or final expense, something like that, right? Right. You get them to the point, you ask the questions and stuff, they want it, they say it, then all of a sudden it's just a dead drop when it's like, okay, now and I've already told them, hey, we're going to put this in place, that kind of thing. I know in person that's going to be a lot. When you say a dead drop, what do you
mean by that? Clarify that.
They just like, we're not going to do it. Like this one last night, the lady's the mortgage was $2,800 a month. The husband made supposedly 10 grand a month. I didn't check it, and then her income was 1,300 a month.
Mhm.
And so it was there was a young couple, equity protections. They were like 47, like our age. The equity protection was very reasonable to get her to get 12.
Why did you go that
months
route?
Because they weren't healthy. They weren't healthy enough to do term. Like they were heavy. They were past the build chart, and they had some health things that just kind of put them out of that. Right?
Did you find that out after?
No, before. Before.
So you knew up front?
Yes. And then we walked through your logic train with the equity protection. Yeah. They understood it, right?
Yeah.
And again, this happens, but it's just
so again, my question is what happens to her if he drops dead tomorrow? How bad is it for her?
Well, they have to get their 6 kids Santa Claus, is what they said to me. And I'm
what's that mean?
They have to do Christmas for their 6 kids instead of getting the equity protection in place.
No, my question is if they die without the coverage, what happens to her?
Oh, she can't do shit. And they said it. Like she can't even make the mortgage payment versus
where do they move?
6 kids.
Where would they move? No, right. I know right. I want to know where the answer is.
Yeah.
No, don't say yes. I want to know the answer. Where does she move?
She doesn't know.
She doesn't know, or you don't know.
I actually didn't ask that question.
Correct, because you stopped at surface level, bro.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
And
dude,
no, it does.
No, stop. Right. Hold on. Nothing else matters now.
Right.
Because you went down a path you shouldn't have gone down yet.
Okay.
Does that make sense? We don't know, dude. They're like priming you for an easy sale, and not in a mean way, but 6 kids, and they have to pick. That's their answer to you is I have to pick Christmas over that because you didn't do a good enough job finding out what happens without the coverage.
Does that make sense? So it's that pain point is what you're saying.
Just like I pushed with you 3 times and you gave me, yep, right, yep. No, cut it out. What's the actual answer, dude? And they would give you some bullshit. We don't know. What does that mean?
Right.
What do you mean you don't know? All right, let me ask a better way. Brian, if you're the client, let me ask you a better way. Mary. Brian drops dead right there on the kitchen table, on the kitchen floor tomorrow night. You come home, there's blood on the floor, he's dead. Who's the first person you call? And I shut my mouth. They're going to tell me. First of all, they're going to get emotional as shit. Who do you call? And I wait.
Right.
It'll change the fucking air. You'll feel it change, dude.
Right. Right.
And they'll be like, probably my mom. Okay, what would you say? Clearly, besides he's dead. Now what? Well, how does it play out? Let's walk through it. Ambulance comes, picks him up. Now what? Who's planning the funeral? Do you have the money for it? Where are the kids going to go for? Are you even going to get the kids? Christmas would suck then. You know what I mean? I'm like, dude, I'm digging.
Right.
I want to know the fucking movie, bro. All you got was the surface level.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And it's if you get to that point, bro, and you probably could go through and ask at least 3, maybe up to 6 questions, just understanding. Now you're solving a problem.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And you're getting them to verbalize something they've never spoken about together.
Right.
Does that make sense? They've never sat down. Think about you and your wife previously. Did y'all ever sit down and map this shit out?
No.
No. Anybody on here probably hasn't. No one does this shit, dude. Because no one wants to talk about it. And everybody's okay that no one wants to talk about it. And that's why most agents don't make any money.
Right.
Because they're not digging. They just pass over that like no big deal. You know what I'm saying? I want to know literally what's going to happen. How much money's in the bank account, Mary? How long can you pay this bill without him? How quick will he stop receiving his check? Is your mom going to help pay the bill in the meantime? Who's going to hire the mover? I want to know it all, dude. And the more emotional they get and the more they're in, the less I have to keep digging.
Right.
If they're nonchalant about it, I got to keep digging. You know how many times I've had people say, can you please stop killing me? I'm good. I get it. Please, we're dead. I got it. Dude, I've had people stop me, bro. And I'm not I'm a little bit more aggressive with you about it because I know you.
Right.
But I'm just very direct about the questions,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And worst case, I know people have fear of it. If someone's like,
Mhm.
what's with all the questions? I'm like, dude, I am trying to make sure your family's taken care of. Like, no
Mhm.
offense. If you don't care about this, I definitely don't care. I'm good either way.
Right.
I would tell clients that I'm covered. And I would be like, dude, I get paid whether you buy this or not. Because I truly believe that. I believe with activity, I get paid.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, this isn't for
Uh-huh.
me. This is for you. And I'm never going to be here again. And the reality is, you probably don't want to keep doing this. Like, how many people like me do you want to have in your house?
Right.
You ever ask a client that when they're like, I'm like, you really want to keep doing this shit? They'll be like, no. I'm like, well, me either. So can we just get it done now?
Right.
Like, it's just being honest with people, dude.
Mm-hmm.
And not having a fear of going down a road that you have a fear of going down in your own life.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's
So,
hard,
so
dude.
would you let me because this thing is shaped up like it was going to lay down, right? You know what I mean? Like it is shaped up, and I didn't do any of that before because I didn't have any stopping blocks that I found up until then. So, would that be something you would build in before all the time, or would it be when they came back with a little smoke screen like what that? I've never even thought to go down that road before, honestly.
I mean,
like what
I
you're
don't
saying.
know. I don't understand how you don't go down that road every appointment, to be honest.
I'm going to now. Shit.
Yeah.
I mean, I've never really thought of it that way. Be like, okay.
Yeah,
Because
I mean,
it just
our job is to solve a problem, like a
right.
literal problem, not a concept problem. You're solving
I feel
concept problem.
right.
And fair to say, I love you, dude. You ain't selling 40 grand a month.
Right. No, I know. That's the thing.
Correct. This is why.
Right. I've
You
never
have a
thought of it
decent
that
amount of
way.
activity.
Right.
You do have decent activity.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's like, and you're relatively consistent in your activity.
Mm-hmm.
You go through phases, but I mean, I hear worse every day, so you're not in that boat.
Right.
You know, but your whole world will change if you actually start understanding what the picture looks like for someone, dude, and what your product's actually doing.
Right.
You know, and
I've
again, for
never
me, a
thought of
lay
it that
down,
way.
certainly
Yeah.
I've taken them, but it's so few. And like, if they have, again, I'm speaking in home terms now because I had visual cues. They got a fucking checkbook on their kitchen table when I get there.
Yeah. Right.
I probably don't have to dig quite as much as someone else. But again, dude, after so many reps, I have way more reps in my bag than you do currently.
Right.
I just don't believe that as new as you are to the industry, you know how to read when it's a true laydown yet.
Right. Well, I
Does
mean,
that make sense?
No, absolutely.
It comes with time.
Right. Well, like that was the early one last night, the one we were texting about. The guy's like, "Hey, I'm here with my wife and my mom, and we all want life insurance. Here we are." And like, so to me, and I still went through my process with them.
So
right?
that's the same for me as everyone on here that wants to make $1 million. But how many people are actually going to fucking do the shit?
Exactly.
It's the same thing, dude. Everyone wants insurance, but who's willing to pay for it? Right. And all that happens, the mistake that happens is, in your client's situation, they have their mortgage payment and their car payment and their insurance and their food and their utilities and then Christmas shopping and then this and then Mexican food and then movies. And then can I squeeze an insurance at the bottom?
And none of them can. Right.
No, that's not true.
Right.
None of them are, because you're not adding enough value or urgency to the situation. All I did was make them shift from insurance fitting in here to we're going to fit insurance in up here and something else is going to fall off.
Right.
Like you can't even does it make sense? Like you can take this. So for those that don't know, I know Brian, we talk every day. I don't want to sound like super rude, but I don't know how to say it without sounding super rude.
Say it. No, fucking say it. It's fine.
Because I struggled with this, dude. So I'm going to put it on me. When I was at your stage, I did such a poor job that I couldn't get insurance above eating fucking Mexican twice a week.
I lost to Santa Claus. Like, I know.
Correct.
Thank you. That's the thing. And I felt like shit. I was like, I didn't do something right. And and in my mind, I was like,
you just didn't create enough urgency, and you didn't create urgency because you didn't get them to uncover to you how bad the problem is.
Right. And this has changed my entire outlook on this whole thing, because it's like, okay, that makes a lot of sense. Thank you, John. Like, Because I was sitting there, I was like, man, I did not serve this family properly because it made all the sense until they dug in and was sort of
Yeah.
like, well, and I didn't do it right. So thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Tab, you're on here, bro. You are definitely getting $1 million. Where are you at? I don't even see you on here. Are you hiding? Or am I got too many people on video? I probably got to go to another page. Oh shit, we got a ton more on video. Where you
I
at?
was laying a kid down to
Oh,
bed.
there you go. All right, were you?
Yeah.
Okay. Nothing wrong with that. You're definitely
Little
hitting
man's
1 million.
napping. I'm going higher than 1 million, but I'm gonna
Yeah.
get there.
I love it. I love it. Anything you want to add to that, or I do pretty good?
No, that's good. It was a good reminder for me. Uh,
Yeah.
I think there's probably a couple of appointments I've ran this week where I didn't paint the full picture.
Yeah.
So,
I see your question, Ramsey. Give me a second. I'm gonna share this thing since you're on here, Tab, with some people. Do
okay.
you care if I share that message you sent me the other day?
No, the one on
The one in
WhatsApp.
WhatsApp? Yeah. Do you give a
Yeah,
shit?
no problem.
Okay.
No.
Hold on. What up, y'all? Officially releasing my book. You can go on and order it now at johnwetmore.com or click the link below. It's where I go over the 6 basic principles I implemented to go from a struggling agent for my first couple years to issuing nearly $500,000 a Mold 10. Go through stories and examples and exercises that you can do to implement for yourself. Appreciate it. Again, johnwetmore.com. Get yours. Later. So check this out. So Tab, it's a cool story. I've talked about him a little bit for those that have been around. Can y'all see that? It's on my screen. It's a little blocked, but it's because I got shit in the way. Can y'all read that?
Yes.
Yes. Cool. Oh, thank you for who said yes. That was better than a thumbs up. It's a cool message. He sent me. So he's in my coaching program. Again, I can reiterate, but literally, a dude was about to quit. What, 5 months ago? 4 or 5 months, 6 months ago, whatever it is.
Yeah, 4 or 5.
Yeah.
Yep.
Literally sent me a cold DM. Didn't know him from a hole in the wall. Started working together. Fair to say you'll triple your income next year.
Absolutely. 100%.
Yeah. I mean,
If not more.
This thing is not deep. You know, he's one of the most coachable people I work with. Took a minute to have some confidence. Fair. But we just keep working on stuff.
Really,
working on stuff.
probably
Keep working on stuff.
3 weeks ago, right?
Yeah,
We had that. We had our one-on-one.
It's true. Yeah. You know, it's like, dude reached out to me. I'm like, and I think you were the first. Finally, I was like, damn, I should probably create a coaching because people keep asking. I always can say no. But yeah, so Tab's been with me for, I don't know, 4 or 5 months doing this thing officially. Unofficially, we did it for a month. Put him on a, went from, would you issue 100 grand in 7 months, and now you've issued 110 in 3 months? Or 3? Is it 3? August, September,
3.
October.
Yeah, 3.5.
Now the goals, and we're tracking for 150 grand paid from November. What's the date to February? Is it February 1st?
We did last week, October through February 1st. Yep.
Yeah. So 3 months, 90 days, 150 grand. And he's just using and implementing all the things I teach. But we talk on a regular basis in the coaching program. We tweak and adjust things, and it's cool to see what you're doing, dude. Because I do this for stories like this, and it's funny every once in a while. Some random dude from the middle of nowhere hits me up, and it works out. And then people I know and work with or see or talk to on a regular basis don't listen to anything and wonder why they're not winning. And I'm like, this is not deep. Oh, I see what, Veronica, is that the Do More shirt? Hell yeah. I love it. There we go. That's a good one. What do you think you're struggling with the most in business right now?
Actually rebuttals. I think I'm too nice when it comes to phone sales.
Cool. When you say rebuttals, give me examples.
I don't have time. It's too expensive.
Okay.
Standards, typical ones.
Yeah. So I remember early on when I spent a lot of time trying to figure out how to overcome rebuttals, objections, call them what you want. And I understand where you're at, but I want to make sure that you understand very clearly that your goal should not be to figure out how to overcome these rebuttals.
Okay.
Do you know what it should be?
To help them out.
Say again?
To help them.
I ain't mad at that answer. But in regards to the rebuttals, exactly.
No, I don't. No.
Imagine if you just didn't get them. And I know that's hard to imagine for a lot of people. But the ideal way is to prevent them. And you're never going to prevent them 100% of the time. Be clear. But if your strategy is how to overcome objections, you're going to continue to get objections and then just spend all day fighting them. That goes for booking appointments and making the sale.
Got it.
Meaning for those of y'all that want to figure out how to overcome, I want to think about it. I think it's a very low level strategy, and it's for rookies. Sure, I get it. And you should have some type of answer for it. But in the ideal situation, you ask enough high quality questions and you uncover people's problems and you provide such a good solution that they can't say, I want to think about it. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So if the goal is to prevent versus overcome, which is everything I just trained on in terms of building, my goal is to prevent all the BS problems we just talked about. I don't really want to overcome a complaining agent. I want to prevent the agent from complaining. Does that make sense? So make sure your mentality in learning this thing is how can I prevent them from saying that again? Not how can I get around that next time they say it?
Got it.
Make sense?
Yep.
It'll take your training to a different level if the intention is different. Because the intention of overcoming is I'm going to continue saying everything I'm saying, and when I get that, then I want to tweak what I'm saying. Or I want you to tweak what you're saying before you get there, and hopefully go down a different path. That make sense?
Yep.
All right. So one of these you said I fumbled on a lot, but there's two in there. I
The
fumbled on this
longer one.
Let's see. Let me hit these. Hopefully, I'm going to literally try to play this live. Let's see what we can do. I don't know how to tell which one's the longer one. Let me see what size they are. Oh, yeah, I see. Cool. One's way bigger. I hope this plays. Can y'all hear that? Can you hear the ringing?
No.
How do I get them to hear this, Amanda or Reese? This will really suck if I can get them to hear this. Y'all can't hear
She's
that.
heading
Huh?
down.
What do I do, Reese?
She's heading down to help you.
Oh, she's headed down. Cool.
Yeah.
Can you
Yep.
can you tell me what to do, or do we have to figure it out?
There should be a way, there should be a button that says share sound on Zoom.
Okay.
Should be on like
Hold
the
on.
right-hand side or something.
Let's see. Amanda's coming to save the day again. Hang tight, guys, because I want you guys to hear the audio. And to be clear, we did not practice this in advance. I just said, fuck it, we'll try it, which I'm okay with. Maybe you need to stop. I need to just stop talking, huh? Trust that you're going to figure this out. Yep.
Justin, I was returning
Y'all
your
hear that?
question you sent in a while.
You hear it now?
Yep.
You hear it now?
Yeah, we can hear it.
Fucking, you're like a miracle worker. You know how good it is to have good fucking people on your team? Holy moly. Because I would never have figured this shit out. All right. Let's see what we got here. I might pause it a bunch. Can you? Oh, there he is. I still see him.
Hello.
Hey, Alan.
Yeah.
Alan, this is Justin. I was returning your question you sent in a while ago about life insurance quotes. Do you remember doing that?
Yeah.
Well, I've got, if I could clarify some information with you, I've got your date of birth as this.
All right. So right off the rip, what do you hear?
I asked him an easy question to get out of it.
Yes, you did. What else? What do you think about your pacing?
Too quick.
Where are you from?
Oklahoma City.
All right. Maybe y'all understand each other's accents. I didn't understand like 4 of the words because you fly
Okay.
through it.
Got it.
Right. So here's what I learned. If you had like you ever hear like an old lady answer the phone that sounds like she's 147 years old?
Sort of, yeah.
Like, I don't know if you got a grandma or great grandma. Like, have you ever had, they pick up the phone? Hello. What would you do
Yeah.
instinctively if you knew you were talking to someone that was 95 years old?
slow down and clarify.
Correct. Does that make sense? Now, there's some
Yeah.
level of meeting people where they're at, but sometimes we tend to rush through things because we're afraid to get objections, or we're just trying to get as much out as we can as fast as we can.
Mhm.
So on your end, you want to feel like you're talking so slow, you feel like a dipshit, but you won't be actually talking that slow.
Okay.
It'll feel awful, but when you record them and you hear it back, it'll be really clear. Make sense?
Yep.
So let's get to your question though. I'm not the biggest fan of going, do you remember? Because it's such an easy out.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, do I see it work? Sure. With people that have really good control, I've seen it work for sure. So I don't want to hammer that too much, but like, I'm less inclined to ask something like that. You know what I mean? I want to be careful, you know, and I don't want to kill it too much. Do you have different deliveries, or is it always, do you remember?
There's different ones.
What else?
Some you don't even, some are like, basically just, hey, I'm getting back to you from the benefits office here in Oklahoma City or wherever. And then I've got your date of birth is 0599, whatever.
I like that better.
Okay.
I like to give information and then ask a question they have to answer about them, or like an answer I can control. A yes, no is like, or open-ended is like, you just don't know what you're going to get. You know what I mean? But you got to be really clear about the message. So I book every appointment ever. Like, hey, now I'm not saying do this because some people disagree with it. And if depending on what part of the country, I'm in Georgia. So for me to be like, hey, Justin, this is John getting back to you about the request you put in about the life insurance. How you doing today? That to ask someone how someone's doing today in Georgia works fucking really well. I'm not saying you have to do that, but I did it. You know, now depending on timing, I ain't mad at skipping that piece. But like for me, it's like, hey, Justin, hey, man, this is John getting back to you about the request you put in about the life insurance quotes. Hey, I got to get you that information, but first I just need to verify your date of birth, 3/28/77. Is that right? I like that better. Information, question.
Okay.
You know, now maybe you still get some bullshit, but the yes is way better than your yes. If I get a yes, that's my birthday, or yes, I remember. You get a yes, I remember. Now what do you got to do?
Go and give them the.
You could ask another question because it's pointless. Does that make sense? So it's like you're adding another question that you don't have to add, in my opinion. So I'm going for it a little bit more confident. Mm-hmm. You're kind of going at it like you expect him to not remember, and you're hoping like shit he does. You know, and maybe are you calling older leads?
Oh yeah, they're 90 plus.
Yeah. So I was taught, and it worked really well, to call every lead like they just filled it out this morning.
Okay.
And deliver it the same way. Because you're putting bias on it, and you're considering an old lead, you probably value it less, if I had to guess.
Yeah, I've had these for a while, so yeah, they're recycled from another person, so.
You know, the other person probably didn't call them worth a shit. Does that make sense?
Probably not. Yeah.
And statistically, these people are procrastinators. So the skill set of the last person probably sucked. They paid full price. I get a discount. I get to treat it like they filled it out yesterday. Because to be honest, they probably did fill out more than just the one you're calling them about.
Right.
So sometimes we misunderstand that we're going to take this form and somehow they're going to remember the exact moment 90 days ago that they filled out some random form and you're the guy that's supposed to be calling them. They don't link it the way you think they're going to link it. You know? So I'd rather just see you assume that they're a family who needs to help their family in case something shitty happens, and you're just the guy that needs to call them. Now, again, I ain't mad at some people that do the delivery of like, hey, man, just getting back to you. A while back, you filled out this form. I'm not mad at all that. You know what I mean? There's no I don't want to nitpick this thing. So I'm not mad at you referencing that it's older. I kind of like it in some ways. But again, it's the pacing and it's the quality of the next question for me. And for me, all I want to do when I do that, I want to find a way to buy more time on the phone.
Okay.
Does that make sense? My first question is just, can I get them to? So when you did I forget his name, but it's like, hey, Justin, you created curiosity and you let him listen a little. He was willing to listen a little longer. Hey, man, this is just calling about the. He was kind of half out, but he didn't want to be rude, so he sort of answered your question. You know what I mean? But it sounds like you don't have a ton more time. I didn't listen to this whole thing, to be clear, the other day. I listened to half of it, and I was like, oh, this will be fun.
Justin, I was returning your question you sent in a while ago about life insurance quotes. You remember doing that?
Yeah.
Well, I've got, if I could clarify some information with you, I've got.
All right. What'd you hear there? And this is normal, and it's okay.
Fumbled and just didn't know what to say.
You got to know your shit, bro.
Yep.
Does that make sense? Do you say this thing out loud all day, every day while you're at work? Have you ever just said it?
No.
I want you to verbalize this thing. I want you to literally sound like an idiot talking out loud. I want you to give that answer, and I want you to come back to be instant. You should know right off the rip what you're going to say.
Okay.
And there's no wrong answer. I'd rather you be smooth and say anything asinine. Who cares? You know what I mean? I could call someone and be like, hey, man, just calling you back about the request you put in for the life insurance. I was just calling to verify your favorite animal's an elephant. Dude, they'd answer me. And they didn't even put that on the form. They were like, nah. I'm like, oh, man, we probably messed it up. What's your favorite animal? I could roll with that, dude, because I have a level of confidence. Does that make sense? And again, be clear, this is normal. You got to work on this. It's okay. But 3 months from now, you're still stumbling. It's going to be a problem.
Right.
And you've been
That's
in
what I'm
2
trying
months,
not to do.
But you've been in 2 months and you've never, does it make sense? I want you, if you were going to give a speech, you ever given a speech in front of someone?
Yeah, many times.
Did you prep for that without saying the speech?
No, I had note cards on practice every day.
Verbally, out loud?
Yes.
Why?
Didn't want to fuck up.
Yeah, man, brother. Right? You hear it different when you're saying it. And you can play both sides. You can play the client and the person and you. But you should be rolling through these things verbally, dude.
Okay.
Make sense? Just in your downtime. Don't do this instead of dialing. Dial, fuck it up royally. I don't care. But when you're driving, when you're at the job, when you're sitting up at night thinking, do this a lot. Prep it. You know what I mean? Again, you've been dialing. How many total objections do you think? If we counted up every variation, how many variations do you think there really are?
I don't know, probably maybe 7 to 10 max.
Okay. So how long would it take you to learn what to say back to each one? If I just gave you one, how long could you know exactly how long would it take? Just go.
If I practice it in probably a day.
Okay.
A couple hours.
So in 7 to 10 days, you could know how to handle every one of them.
Probably so if I practice it, yeah.
There you go, bro. All right. I learned this, dude. You want to get paid like a professional, you need to act like a professional.
Fair enough.
Make sense?
Your date of birth is December 28, 1954. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Perfect. So is this a time to go ahead and is this a good time to go ahead and get some quotes over to you?
Ooh, death question there, bro.
I know I asked it. I did.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. I fumbled on it.
Yeah. So hesitation and poorly prepped question. Why? You're just winging it, dude. You know what I mean? You don't have ready what you're going to say when they verify the date of birth. So now it's what's the transition? Does that make sense? Are you trying to do one call closes or book them right there on the spot?
I really don't know which way to go with it.
Nope. You got to pick one, bro. Who you want to be? They both work.
Or one. Yeah.
Pick one. And you don't have to pick one permanently. You can do one today and do it different tomorrow. I advise you pick one and roll with it for the beginning. But for some of y'all out there, some people go, do I do telesales? Do I do one call close? Do I do in-home? Dude, they all work. Everything works. But if you don't know, what does that mean? I don't even hear the rest of it. But going forward, if you don't know if you're trying to close an hour, book an appointment, who's in control of this phone call then?
The client.
Yeah.
Potential client.
So you're going to let him dictate whether you do one call close or book an appointment, I'm guessing. Which you just did. It's are you ready now or not? So he
Probably not.
chooses if it's one call close or an appointment. I ain't a fan of that. I'd rather you choose and be wrong. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I got it.
If you go one call close and he can't do it, I'm not mad at diverting to an appointment. But if you go pick one, choppy waters.
Yeah, they're probably not going to pick the one you want.
And then if they do, now you got to be ready for two different things. You know what I mean? It's like, all right, where are we going? Which way are we going? It's like you're off balance. You know what I mean? Again, all normal, dude. You're not doing anything wrong other than are we working on fixing it every day? This is all normal shit. Make sense?
I will be now. Yeah, I will be now.
Well, I already got insurance.
You have life insurance in place?
Yes, sir.
Do you know what
All right. What'd you do?
I do not know.
You repeated the question that you already knew. You heard him loud and clear. Why did you repeat the question? Do you know?
No, I was just probably confirming I was a little bit shocked.
You didn't know what to say. Again.
No.
So you're trying to buy yourself time. You know what I mean? Again, all good. But that's one of the basics. You know what I mean? Get there.
face amount of that is?
How much what?
The face amount, how much the beneficiary would receive?
I'm gonna let this
I don't at this point.
Okay.
You know why he doesn't know?
My friend does, but
Because he probably doesn't have
gone
it.
to work.
Amen.
I got you. No worries. Were you looking to add on to that at all, or just you're happy with what you have?
Uh-oh.
Well,
Gaming out
I
again.
don't know yet. I'm very not understanding a lot of this.
Dude, golden opportunity right there. He's laid out the red carpet for you to come over or deal with them. You know what I mean? Like, which is that's not common. He was going away. And he's like, here you go. Silver platter. I need help. You know what I mean? So it's like, man, trying to think if I want to address any of this stuff here. It's like, it can be scary, man, starting to go like, do you have this? Do you have that? Because some people start to fear, like, it's a fine line. You know, I feel like this dude needs help, and he's not just he's not being a dick, not trying to get you off the phone. He's not rude at all. So someone that's kind of chill, I'm okay asking questions. I'll give you a tip on the way I would do it.
Okay.
And you'll find out if it's real or not. And again, this is for me, this is generalizing, not necessarily for this guy. It's just something that comes to mind that worked really well for me. I've learned that if you ask 10 people how much coverage they have, you lose them right there. They're typically out. A way that I found that I can get a little bit more information out of people, because again, I'm just looking to buy a little more time. If they got something, I might go, oh, got it, Justin. We don't have on our records here that you have something. Dude, do you mind if I put some notes in the system so I don't have to keep calling you about this? And I've learned they'll open up a little bit more.
Okay.
If I'm gonna be the guy that's gonna help them stop getting calls. Again, I don't use that every time, but sometimes I'll use it. And then I still get down the road sometimes. I don't know what I have. You know what I mean? But this dude's like, I don't really understand any of this. So I'm curious to see what you said.
So what I do is I'm a life insurance agent, also known as a broker, which shops different life insurance companies for you to get.
All right. So my response back to him right there would have been like, so you're telling me you need help with this desperately because you don't understand it. Is that what I'm hearing right? I'd have went for the kill right there.
Got it.
I mean, like,
Well,
he laid it out. He's asking for help there, which you kind of did. I see what your angle is. You know what I mean? I just like to go for it directly. I want a nice solid yes. Right now, you're about to pitch him on why he should allow you to help. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I was trying to explain what I was trying to do.
Yeah. It's like, I don't know. This is a weird example, but you ever ask a girl out by going, hey, man, my name is Justin, and I'm interested in hiking, snowboarding, and sledding, and I was born in April, and I treat women really good, and I open their car doors, and da 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 da. Would you like to go out with me?
Sounds about right.
Probably not the best way. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know, dude. Again, all normal. It's the thing that you need to gain, and it's okay that you don't have it perfect yet, is a little bit of confidence. You know what I mean? And I want you to study some people's scripts that are real, not instead of dial. I want you to hear that so loud and clear. Make a mother effing mess of it. When do you get off work?
5 o'clock, so about 2.5 hours.
And then you start making phone calls in the evenings?
Yes, I usually do about 5:30 to about 8-ish.
Okay. Why do you stop at 8?
No particular reason. It's just bath time starts with my kiddo and all that, so I do that with my wife.
No, that's the perfectly valid reason. I didn't know if it's because you thought you couldn't keep dialing.
No, I actually I called one person about 1 o'clock in the morning because I got an instant lead from my brother-in-law. He says, "Go ahead and call this." I was like, "Now?" He's like, "Sure."
I love it. Yeah. Yeah. If you got family stuff, all good. If it's every day, you know what I mean? Just like, I didn't want it to be like I'm stuck. Some people get a mental block after, like, if the sun goes down, people get a mental block sometimes. I was just making sure that.
No, I actually had a rebuttal this Sunday saying, "Why are you calling me? It's Sunday. You're not allowed to call." I'm like, "No, I'm allowed to call." And then she pretty much told me, "Go F off."
Yeah. Yeah. Just keep it moving, dude. Cool. So in the evenings, like, how old's your son?
He's 3.5.
All right, cool. What time does he go to bed?
About 9 o'clock.
Cool. Is your wife on board fully with you figuring this thing out and leaving the job and studying insurance and is she on board 100% or 50% or where's she at?
I would say about 50-60.
Ooh-wee. What'd you do wrong, bro?
I bought some leads and haven't made no money.
Bought some leads and haven't made no money. All right. Why do you think? Just once? Bought leads once?
No, I bought leads. I bought about $1,000 so far.
Okay.
So.
Did she not understand what was going into this to begin with?
Oh, she did, but she's seen how my brother-in-law does, or how her brother's done it, and expects somewhere the same.
So he's doing good?
Yeah, he's doing pretty good.
Okay, cool. So. Yeah, I mean, y'all got to just get on the same page. You know what I mean? What I've learned, man, is if spouses see you going after it like a professional, you'll tend to get a lot more support. And I don't know if you are or aren't. I'm being very vague here. I don't know your situation at all. Obviously, we've never met. We've never spoke. You DM me and I answered you. We don't know each other from a hole in the wall, really. But just generalizing with all the people I've worked with over the years, if she's fair to say, you see where you could be working on your craft more so far, just in our brief conversation. If she sees or feels that, she's going to be less supportive.
Got it.
So I don't know if that aligns or makes any sense, or if I'm on.
No, it does
with that. But that's where it's like, you got to go out and earn that 100% from her. You know, like Stephanie never gave me any shit ever. Early on, I wouldn't say she gave me shit, but she would challenge me. If I bitched, she'd be like, "Really, bro?"
That's my wife does that.
All right.
So
what's it going to take for you to change?
Sounds like I got a whole list of things: practice and confidence.
I know, but what's it going to, not what are you going to change? What's it going to take for you to make the change?
Oh, mindset, man. Changing my mindset to do it. To actually follow through.
Okay. Why have you struggled with that so far? Do you think?
Probably just the no's I've gotten so far. It's kind of, is it really worth it?
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. What's the alternative to this not working?
Not changing careers, staying where I'm at.
How do you like the thought of that?
Not very well.
Why not?
I'm tired of being stuck to the time clock.
Okay. Why?
Just can't plan anything. You got a certain amount of time you can do things. You only got a certain amount of vacation.
Okay. So then the question is, which sucks worse? Your current situation and the thought of being in this situation for the rest of the time? Or a few people telling you no every week?
The current.
Okay. So next time someone tells you no and you decide to get emotional about it, you need to continue to ask yourself that question in the moment. Because if
Fair
you're
enough.
the type of person that gets emotional over no's, which I was, to be clear, if you've heard I don't know how much of my story you've heard or followed or read it. I mean, I share all this shit in the book. I have every training. I'm very transparent about my journey here. I was super emotional. And I was a dick to people when I was emotional. I was like a sarcastic ass on the phones. But I hated my situation so much. I had to realize I had to change. And I found it, when I say it out loud, to be super immature, given where I was at and what I wanted with life. You know? And for me, have you read the book yet?
Mine's supposed to come tomorrow, actually.
Okay, dope. Cool. Did you get it from us?
Yes.
So yeah, you'll get one signed. I send them, if you order it from the website, I get it signed. I talk about a lot of this in the book. For me, I had to learn how to, when I understood the numbers to this game, which takes time. You maybe don't have it in 2 months, which is okay. But like, if you can see the amount of work people are putting in relative to you and the result they're getting, if you could get, I want you to understand the frustration you're having with the result. I want you to have, instead of having the frustration with the result side, I want you to be frustrated with the activity side as equally. So when you don't study your craft, I want you to be as mad as you are when you get a no. When you don't make time to get better at your career, when you don't take time to do the phone script out loud, when you don't take time to study the reason I was asking what time your kid goes to bed at 9, that means at 10 o'clock, you're done dialing at 8 and you put them to bed at 9. Between 9 and 11, that's prime time to get better in your career. Now, the wife's going to get annoyed if you never give her time and you don't get better at this. So y'all got to navigate that. You got to figure it out. You mean, do what's right for your marriage, have the conversations, do all that shit. But that's where you're going to get better, you know? And once I understood that I really wanted to be out of the situation I was in, and I was being immature about it, and I saw all the other people winning, dude, this business has been working for hundreds of years. And there's a gajillion people printing money in this business. You've got to have some understanding that it works in theory. So the question is, are you willing to adapt to make it work? I mean, if I went into your career today and I sat in your desk, how much of a shit show would the jobs be, you think?
Pretty bad.
Correct.
Yeah.
But do you think I couldn't learn it?
No, it's pretty simple. So
I feel the same way about this, bro. You know, I just need you to feel that way about this. And currently you don't.
Yeah.
That make sense?
Yeah, definitely.
Any questions?
No.
Did that help?
Yeah, tremendously.
Cool. I don't think we need to get into the last minute and a half. Unless there's anything earth-shattering you think we'll learn. I think we got the gist. Because my goal is that you never get to the rest of this phone call.
Appreciate it.
You either did it right or you cut bait because they're not interested. And it's okay to cut bait on people sometimes and just move on. I mean, again, none of this shit's going to work on every phone call. Be clear. But what will work is if you go about it the right way, your mindset towards it will work 100% of the time. Because you either get the yes you want, or you get the no and you move on unemotionally. Either one of those is a win. Make sense?
All right. Yes.
Cool. All right, guys. Hope you enjoyed seeing some of the behind the scenes, the journey, some of the coaching, everything we got going on here. Continue to follow as we are going to do more things, bigger things, better things. We're going to continue to share. We're going to continue to be insanely transparent about this business and what it takes to succeed. I'm kind of no fluff. Let's figure out how to take this thing to a next level, and very transparent about the journey, all the ups and downs and mistakes and trials and wins and losses we make here. So hopefully you got a little taste of it. If you've enjoyed this video, enjoyed your year, we have some cool things coming out in this upcoming year. We have a ton planned. Next week's video, just as a preview, is going to be released in a week about goal setting and how to go into 2025 and make it the best year you've ever had in any business, how to grow your agency, how to build your team, and everything you have to do in order to have a record year and actually change your family's life. Instead of just talking about it, this year we're going to implement and we're going to be about it. So go check out the video next week. Subscribe. Don't forget, put a reminder, put it on your calendar. And again, we got a ton of events coming up as well. johnwetmore.com/events. Register. I have an upcoming Zoom, and I do very infrequently in-person events in my office, but we have one coming up in February. Register for it now before it sells out, and look forward to seeing you there. Enjoy and be ready to kill this upcoming year. Later.